Welcome to the Oxford 4000 Essential English Words Podcast, episode 58. I'm your host, Emma.
And I'm your co host, Frank, here to learn along with you. How are you doing today, Emma?
I'm doing great, Frank. I'm excited for today's episode. We have a very interesting list of words.
Oh, I'm intrigued. So, what's on the menu for today?
Today, we're going to be looking at carelessly, drunk, false, magic, plural, public, input, remainder, postage, and acid.
Wow, that's quite a mix. From chemistry to grammar to, well, bad decisions. This should be fun.
It certainly will be. Before we dive into our word by word deep dive, we want to remind all of our amazing listeners to please save this episode to your library, give us a like, and subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Your support helps us create more polished and helpful content for you.
Absolutely. Now, let's start with our first word carelessly. Carelessly is an adverb, and it means doing something without enough attention or thought. In Chinese, we might say 粗心地.
So, like when I'm in a hurry and I spill coffee on my shirt, that would be a classic example of acting carelessly.
Exactly. A common collocation is to drive carelessly. For example, he was fined for driving carelessly.
I see. And you could also say, she carelessly left her wallet on the bus. It implies a lack of attention.
Precisely. Let's move on to our next word, drunk. This is an adjective and it describes someone who is under the influence of alcohol. The Chinese equivalent is 醉了的.
Right. I think we're all familiar with this one. A simple sentence would be, he was too drunk to drive home.
A very important and responsible sentence. It can also be used more figuratively. For example, you could say, she was drunk with power, meaning she was intoxicated by her own authority.
That's a great point. It's not just about alcohol. So the fans were drunk with joy after their team won the championship.
Perfect example. Now for our third word, false. False is an adjective that means not real or true. In Chinese, it's 错误的 or 虚假的.
So if someone gives you a false name, they're not giving you their real name. And a false alarm is when people wrongly think something dangerous is happening.
Correct. You can also talk about false teeth or a false bottom in a suitcase. For instance, the detective found a false bottom in the suspect's drawer.
And what about in a test? You need to identify which statements are true and which are false.
That's a very common usage. Next up is magic. As a noun, magic is the power of apparently influencing events by using mysterious or supernatural forces. The Chinese translation would be 魔法.
I love a good magic show. So you could say, the magician performed some amazing magic tricks. But it's also used as an adjective, right? Like a magic wand?
Yes, exactly. As an adjective, it means having or apparently having supernatural powers. For example, she wished she had a magic carpet to fly away on. It can also describe something wonderful, as in, it was a magic moment.
I like that. The children's eyes were filled with a sense of magic on Christmas morning.
Lovely sentence. Let's move on to plural. Plural is a noun or an adjective related to a form of a word that refers to more than one person or thing. The Chinese for this is 复数.
Ah, grammar. So the plural of cat is cats. And for mouse, it's mice, which is an irregular plural.
Exactly right. As an adjective, you could say the noun children is in the plural form.
So if I were to say, in English we add an us to many nouns to make them plural, I'd be using the word correctly.
You would. And now to a word we all know, public. As an adjective, public means relating to or concerning the people as a whole. In Chinese, it's 公共的.
So a public park or public transportation. Things that are for everyone. As a noun, the public refers to ordinary people in general. For example, the new law was not popular with the public.
That's right. You could also say the government's decision was made in the public interest. And for another example, the celebrity made a public apology for his comments.
Got. It's all about the community or people in general. Let's keep going.
Our next word is input. As a noun, input is what you put in, either information into a computer or advice and ideas into a discussion. The Chinese equivalent is 输入.
So, in a work meeting, my boss might ask for my input on a new project. That means he wants my ideas.
Precisely. For example, we need some input from the design team before we proceed. In a tech context, you'd say the program requires a password as input.
And what about the verb form? Is it the same?
Yes, you can also input data. For instance, You need to input your personal details into the system.
Okay, that's straightforward. I need to input all these numbers into the spreadsheet.
Perfect. Next is remindering. A reminder is the part of something that is left after the other parts have been used, removed, or dealt with. In Chinese, it's剩余部分.
So, after a party, the remainder of the cake might be put in the fridge.
Exactly. Or in math, if you divide 10 by 3, the remainder is 1.
That makes sense. He spent most of his money and donated the remainder to charity.
A great sentence. Now for postage. Postage is the charge for sending a letter or package by mail. The Chinese word for it is youfei.
Ah, something that's becoming less common in the age of email. You would say, how much is the postage for this parcel to Canada?
That's the one. Or the postage for the letter was $2. It's quite simple.
Simple but important if you want your mail to arrive. Please remember to include the return postage.
Our last word for today is acid. Acid is a chemical substance, often a liquid, that can burn or dissolve other substances. The Chinese is suan.
I remember this from chemistry class. Lemon juice contains citric acid. It's also used to describe a sharp taste, right?
Yes, the adjective acid can mean having a sharp, sour taste, but it can also describe a remark or tone of voice that is sharp and unkind. For instance, he made an acid comment about her new haircut.
Ouch. So I could say, she has an acid wit, meaning her humor is sharp and sometimes a bit cutting.
You've got it. And that's our 10 words for today. We hope you found this deep dive helpful. Remember to save this episode's word list, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified about our next set of 10 words.
Now, I believe it's time for our scenario dialogue.
It is indeed. In this scene, Frank and I are roommates discussing a party we hosted last night. Let's see how many of today's words we can use.
All right, I'm ready. I'll start. Emma, did you see the state of the living room? Someone carelessly left a pizza box on the new sofa?
I know. And I think John was a bit too drunk. He was telling everyone a false story about being a secret agent.
Oh, that's just his idea of magic. He thinks he's a magician after a few drinks. What's the plural of beer? He must have had all of them.
I'm just glad he didn't make a public spectacle of himself. The neighbors already gave me their input this morning about the noise.
Input, was it a complaint? What did they say about the remainder of the guests who left late?
They were surprisingly understanding. They were more concerned about a package they thought was for us. They said the postage was already paid.
A package? That's strange. Anyway, I should probably clean up that spill in the kitchen. I hope it's not some kind of acid that will ruin the floor.
Let's hope not. Just use some water. We can tackle the rest of the mess together.
Phew, what a night. I think we managed to use all our words in there.
We did. It shows how even a seemingly random list of words can come together in a real life situation.
Now for my favorite part, the Chinese to English practice segment. I'm going to give you a sentence in Chinese using some of today's words, and you at home have to try to translate it into English. I'll give you 5 seconds. Ready, Emma?
Ready to cheer everyone on.
Okay, here is the first sentence. 他在公开场合粗心地提供了虚假信息，这让所有人都感到震惊。I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Time's up. What are some good answers, Frank?
A good translation would be, he carelessly provided false information in public, which shocked everyone. Or you could say, his careless input of false information in a public setting was shocking to all.
Both are excellent. The second one is a bit more formal, using input as a noun.
Exactly. Let's try another one. Here it is. 我需要你的意见来决定如何处理剩余的这些像酸一样难喝的饮料. 5 seconds on the clock. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's a tricky one with the simile. How would you translate it?
One way is, I need your input to decide what to do with the remainder of these drinks that taste like acid. Another option could be, what's your input on how to handle the remainder of these acid-tasting drinks?
Acid tasting is a great compound adjective there. It sounds very natural.
All right, one last challenge. This one includes a few words. 邮费是多少？我不想让我的复数形式的魔法卡片因为喝醉了酒的朋友们而丢失。Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's a mouthful. Let's hear the answers.
Okay, here's a possible translation. What is the postage? I don't want my plural magic cards to get lost because of my drunk friends. You could also say, how much is the postage? I'm worried my drunk friends might lose my magic cards, the ones in the plural form.
Excellent. That last one is very clear, explaining the plural part. And that wraps up our practice segment. You all did a fantastic job.
I agree. And before we go, let's give our listeners a little taste of what's coming in the next episode.
Of course. Next time, we'll be covering change, multiply, downstairs, gardener, there, scratch, question, sugar, apartment, and traveler.
Another great list. We hope you'll join us. And one last time, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell. It really helps us out.
It truly does. Thank you all for tuning in to Oxford 4000 Essential English Words. It's been a pleasure.
It certainly has. Keep practicing, stay curious, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.